What's going on, you guys? Welcome on back to the channel. And it's official. We are now only a few more weeks away from seeing the final season of My Hero Academia start to play out on our screens once again. Now, as you know, I've been very excited for this season to drop. I'm someone that has come back around on My Hero Academia recently. So I want to come on here and pretty much talk about the things that I'm most excited to see, and that is the final few fights that are left in My Hero Academia. Now, I know I've kind of talked about these fights in other videos, but I wanted to really come on here and kind of just flesh out my thoughts about these fights because when I talked about the fights, they were kind of bookends of other videos, so I wanted to give them their full attention here. So, without further ado, I think we should start with the first fight that we're most likely going to see play out in the final season, and that is All Might versus All for One. Now, All Might versus All for One in the manga, I didn't really like as much because, at least for me, I couldn't really feel that emotional impact within the manga. The whole time when I was reading it in the manga, I was just like, why is All Might Iron Man, right? Why is All Might putting himself like on the front lines? Because I felt like to me, the whole point of All Might's journey was kind of leaving it to the next generation, right? He gave up his power and pretty much sacrificed his own ability to fight to pass it on to the next generation. So I didn't really like what they were doing with him in the manga. So the anime has actually been smart in how they've been handling All Might versus All for One. I don't know if they did this in the manga or not, but what I liked in the anime was how when All Might is first fighting All for One in his like robot form, we see him calling out the names of all of his students' big attacks. And that for me was that emotional connection, right? That's how I was able to get emotionally attached to this fight because he's bringing in all the experiences that he helped foster within the students. Like he was able to help these students grow and master these attacks, and now he's implementing it into his own skill set in order to be All for One. I love that. I thought that was really great. So I hope for this final season they extrapolate on that, right? Because we all know that during this final stretch of All Might versus All for One, All Might starts to go a little crazy during this fight. So I want to see the anime add to that, right? How crazy are they going to let All Might get before the fight ends? Because we all know All Might doesn't really win the fight. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they handle All Might losing this fight, right? Because we're so used to seeing All Might come out on top and win. How are they going to handle that? So that I'm very much looking forward to. But the next fight that I'm looking forward to is one that we haven't even seen in any coverage of the season. So if you're an anime only, tap out now. Don't watch any more of this. But the main fight that I'm most looking forward to is Bakugo versus All for One. Now, this fight is very interesting to me because, like I said, it is the fight that we have gotten no coverage of at all in terms of like trailers or anything because I think they want to keep Bakugo a secret. But let's be honest, Bakugo's revival is like it's like the worst secret in all of anime. So I'm not sure why they're trying to keep it a secret, but that's what they're trying to do. I respect it, but I'm most looking forward to seeing how they handle like first and foremost Bakugo's revival because Bakugo's revival is such a point of contention for My Hero Academia as a whole. It's a decision that, in my opinion, split the fan base right down the middle. You either love it or you just despise it. And for the longest time, I was on that despise it side, but I'm starting to come around to it because if the anime can handle it properly, then I won't have a problem with it as much. Sure, I don't like the decision to revive Bakugo. I think it removes a lot of the personal and emotional stakes within the final war. But if you're going to bring him back, you gotta make it impactful. And what I think they're gonna do for Bakugo, for sure, is make his final fight impactful. Because Bakugo, at least in the mainline anime, does not have his own villain. He's never had his own villain. He's kind of just had like tertiary villains to fight throughout the whole series, and that was always kind of like one of my failings with My Hero Academia is Bakugo didn't have his own villain. Like Shoto had Dabi and Deku had Shigaraki. He never had anybody like that, and he's one of the big three. So what I'm most looking forward to seeing is what kind of like connection can they add for kind of just Bakugo and All for One? I know that what they're most likely going to do is they're going to like really hammer in on the fact that he looks like one of the past One for All users. I think that's what they're going to really focus in on in terms of this fight for that emotional connection to really get people involved with it. But I'm actually wondering if they kind of like bring anything in from the movies because we know in movie two that Deku gave One for All to Bakugo. What if they play on that a little bit? Sure, he's not going to have like One for All or anything like that. I don't expect him to have that. I would hate that. But what if like All for One consents that at one point he had One for All? I think that'd be pretty cool. I think that'd be a pretty cool way to do it. But let's get into the fight itself. The main thing that I really want for Bakugo versus All for One, I want top tier animation, right? The animators, like for pretty much the entirety of My Hero Academia, have loved Bakugo throughout pretty much the whole show because Bakugo is such a fun character to animate because of his quirk. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what these animators put out for Bakugo versus like All for One. I think this fight is going to be a spectacle, and there is a reason why they haven't shown it at all. Yeah, sure, one, it's to keep Bakugo being alive a secret, but I do think that this fight has the potential to kind of like break the internet in a way. I don't know if it will because there's some other stuff left that I think is like bigger, but I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they handle Bakugo versus All for One because like I said, it's a very key fight for the anime to get right. So I definitely think they have to go all out for the animation for Bakugo here because this is Bakugo's like last big moment within the show. You got to go crazy. This is everybody's favorite character in terms of the popularity polls. So you got to go crazy with this final fight, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Now, the final fight that I want to talk about today, the final fight that is probably going to be the main focus of the season, Deku versus Shigaraki. Deku versus Shigaraki is very important as well, but I have a lot more faith in this fight than any other fight because of what we've seen for it. The animation for this fight looks incredible, but what I'm most looking forward to seeing is how do they handle Deku giving his quirks to Shigaraki, right? That was a moment that I myself hated when I was reading it in the manga because I felt like it came out of nowhere. So I'm most looking forward to seeing how does the anime handle that? How does the anime make it like a moment that feels earned in a way? And I'm really looking forward to seeing like not even just like the fighting, just like Baku or not just Deku in that alternate world with Shigaraki. Like how do they handle that? That's what I'm most looking forward to. But also the fight's just gonna look incredible. I feel like the stuff that we've seen in the trailers, I feel like is just a snippet of how that fight is going to be. I think there's going to be some crazy shit going on in that fight. I think there's going to be a Nakamura cut somewhere. There's going to be like a lengthy Nakamura cut in one of these episodes for Deku versus Shigaraki. Think like the last movie that we had, but not as big. I think that's the kind of length of a Nakamura cut we're gonna have, and everybody's gonna want to be on the Deku versus Shigaraki fight because that's like the last time to be able to really animate Deku with One for All. So, like I said, very much looking forward to seeing how they handle that fight. But I think that's going to do it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. How do you guys feel about these final fights that we have going on for the anime? Do you guys think they're going to be handled properly? Or do you guys think that the manga might be the better way to experience them? Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe. And as always, I'm going to talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.